So we're going to create a brand new MVC5 application. And you want to make sure your language is C#, and we're going to limit here to MVC. And then let's choose ASP.NET Web Application, .NET Framework. Computer's not real happy today. For our name, we're going to call it MVC5 Employees. And if you're on campus, you're going to put this on your Q drive. Otherwise, you can leave it in the default location. Solution and project should be in the same directory. And we're going to click on Create. And we do want MVC for this. And so eventually you should be in Visual Studio, and you should see MVC5 employees. And the first thing that we're going to do is update to Bootstrap, the current version. So we're going into the NuGet package manager. And let's go to updates and select Bootstrap. We're going to update to the current version. And if you are planning on updating Bootstrap, you do want to do it first thing. Otherwise, if you have a lot of styling that you have implemented and you've made changes, it becomes very difficult to update. Okay, and at this point, it should be all installed. And I'm going to close out of that. And if you remember, when we do update to Bootstrap 4 from 3, we have to change the layout. So we're going to go ahead and just do that right away. So between the body tag and this div tag, where we have a container with body content, this is the area that we are going to be modifying. So I'm going to get rid of this. And then from the notes, I'm just going to copy and paste. And then let me save those changes. In addition, I do need to add a little styling. The minimum is to override the padding top setting. And I'm going to do that up here. So I have an internal style sheet that I'm going to copy and paste. And then I'm going to save. And I'm going to go ahead and run this just to make sure it looks okay. And typically in MVC, I do run things after I make changes, after each change, because if there's a problem, it is certainly easier to troubleshoot and fix it after a single change instead of after 10 different changes. Okay? It's kind of a good habit to get into, running it after you make a single change. And here it is loading. And we haven't done anything really in here yet. So we will have the home controller and then the index content and about views. Okay, so we've made a change up here. Okay, so you can kind of see. And if you don't like the link colors, you certainly can change them. So you can see I styled link, visited, and hover. So if you want to change them, you can. You don't have to stick with those. But you do want to keep padding top set to 0. Otherwise, there's a gap above your navigation bar. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this. And we are going to begin by creating a model. So let's right click on models. And we're going to add. And what we're adding is a class. Okay, so we're adding a class. And we are going to call this thing employee. And right now it's a class with no properties. And we are going to be adding 3 properties. And the first one is ID. We'll add our get and set for that. And then we've got name. And then finally, we've got salary. So pretty simple little class. And we'll save this. And we're going to be working a lot more with models in upcoming weeks, but one of the conventions in MVC is that it does assume ID is a primary key. Okay, so you'll be learning a lot more about primary keys, foreign keys, and how to set various properties in upcoming weeks. But at this point, we've got our little employee class with 3 properties. Next thing we're going to do, and let's close this, is we are going to modify our controller. Or actually, not our controller. We're going to modify our views. So let's go into Home, and we're going to modify Index. So the index view has a lot in it by default, and there's a lot in it that we actually do not want. So you can either key in the code manually, or I do have a text file that you can open. And this is the code we need, so you can also just copy and paste, because I think we've done enough with views that I did not feel it was necessary for you to key in everything by hand. Okay, so you can copy and paste, or you can manually key it in. And I'm going to do Control A, that highlights, selects, and then Control V, as in Victor, to paste. And as you can see, we do have a graphic in this. It's detective.ping, and you can download that from the lecture notes. And downloading does work a little bit better from Chrome, because once you see it in the lower left corner, you can simply drag it into the content folder. So I'm going to right click, save link as. And it doesn't really matter where you initially put it. I'm just going to have downloads folder. Okay, once I see it here, I can kind of resize this thing. And what I need to do is left drag this to content and then release it. And then you can see it here. And once you see it here, you will see it when the application runs. And we're going to go ahead and run our application. So let me save all my changes and run it. Okay, so here is our index. What we're going to modify next is our About page. So I'm going to keep this running, just going to minimize it here. And I'm going to open up About. And we are not going to be using the layout on this. So there are a lot of changes that we're going to make. Okay, so you can see we've got an entire internal style sheet that we are applying. And then we've got some semantic tags. We're also adding a little link to the bottom. Okay, and you've seen these action links in the layout page, but you can also put them in basically any of your views if you want to link to a different page. So you could manually type this in, or you can just select the link and highlight the code. And I'm going to press Control C to copy. Then I'm going to kind of move this out of my way. And I'm in my About page. I'm going to press Control and A to select, Control and the letter V as in Victor to paste. And then I'm going to save this. Now looking through here, you can see that we do have another graphic we need to download. And so I'm going to use the same procedure that I did for the detective. I'm going to come down here, find my graphic, right click on it, save link as. Does not really matter where you save it to, so I'm just going to put it in downloads. And then once I have it downloaded, I'm going to left drag over to content, hopefully. And I may have to stop it from running because it's not letting me do that. So let me move this over. We'll hit stop. And then we'll try this again. There we go. And I always kind of double check and make sure it got in there. All right, so now we have the graphic. I'm going to do a little save all. And now I'm just going to run this again. Okay, so here's my background graphic. And you can see I've got my text. And this is that hyperlink that we added. Okay, and the styling for that link is in our internal style sheet. And you can see here is our link. So if I click on that, it actually takes me back into my menu system. And I'm going to go ahead and close this because we have another view that we're going to modify. And this one is our contact view. And the reason that I stopped it from running is because this one also has a graphic that we're going to need to download. And the changes that we are going to make are displayed here. So if you would like to key them in, that's awesome. Otherwise, you can feel free to copy and paste the code. So I'm going to press Control A, Control V, and save my changes. And you can see that this one has a graphic, and it looks like we already have that one. So we should be good on this. And let's go ahead and run it. Okay, so that's the same graphic as before, just displayed a little different. And at this point, we have kind of customized our home, about, and contact pages. And we don't really need those view bag messages that are in the home controller. So let's go ahead and open that up. And we'll have to stop our app here. And let's just get rid of the view bag messages. Okay, and we'll save our changes.